Okay, so I honestly don't know which one's male and which one's female there, but I'm assuming the bigger one's male, and these two are definitely mating, and there's a couple eggs on the bottom of this Anubias leaf. Yeah, I wouldn't know what else to call this behavior, but their eggs certainly won't survive in this tank, because it's a community fish tank, but this is what it looks like. Guess I need to research how to tell if it's male or female, so I can, I guess, get these guys out into like a proper breeding tank for them to try to produce them just because. But so these are Rosy Red minnows or fathead minnows. This is the, I think, axanthic strain. It's called Rosy Red, and they're commonly sold as feeder fish. And I didn't buy them as feeder fish. I got them for free with somebody who gave me turtles. So they had some Rosy Red minnows, and I kept them in my community fish tank because I just feed my turtles pellets and like insects and stuff. So it's crazy interesting. I have I believe a pair of blunt nose minnows in here as well. I'm not completely sure on that. I know I have an adult male somewhere. There he is. And he protects that little area down there. So I shine my light because it seems like they like overhang type of deals to lay their eggs. Like both these minnows are very similar, both indigenous to North America. So I'm thinking that he is like preparing a nest type of deal, but I would think that this is a female blunt-nosed minnow, but I'm not entirely sure because its face isn't like as flat as his. So if it is, I'm gonna set those guys up in a separate tank as well to try to breed them. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a fathead minnow rather than a blunt-nosed minnow. I don't exactly know. I guess I'll just have to see. But obviously these two are really enjoying this tank. This is a 125 gallon. There's 29 fish in here, 11 albino koi catfish. There's 12 rosy red minnows, 2 blunt-nosed minnows, a beta, 1 white skirt tetra, and 1 Chinese striped dwarf catfish. It hides away, but just a bunch of random fish because most of them are rescues, so I don't really buy fish anymore. But this is really interesting. That's why I'm interested in breeding even the most common of fish, mainly just for the experience, but also because I don't really buy fish. Very interesting behavior, and I don't know if you guys can see the eggs. I'll try to focus in here. There's one right in front of the bamboo there. And then there's 2 more right there. So they're really small, like compared to, I've only bred koi catfish. I mean, I've bred guppies, I guess, but I've only really bred koi catfish, and their eggs are quite a bit larger than that. Okay, so that was filmed May 27th, and it's now June 12th, and I know this video's like gonna be out way later than these dates, but the last that I looked, there was eggs here, and there doesn't seem to be, oh, there's eggs on that leaf. There's a bunch of them. Here, I'll show you. So this is the male right here. This is a male fathead minnow, and there's a bunch of eggs on the bottom of that leaf, and he's always protecting them. So he's the male, and he protects them, and then we have all these, and I'm assuming most of these are females then. Actually, they might all be females. I don't know. You can see the tubercles, that's what I'm gonna call him because that sounds right, on his face. And it's the same thing with this, with the blunt-nosed minnow, the adult male blunt-nosed minnow, and he is down there. Now, he had eggs as well, but I'm thinking that other brown minnow isn't, you see it right there? It doesn't look exactly the same as these guys, but you have to think these guys aren't, like these things are the xanthic, not axanthic, I think it's just xanthic variety. And I'm thinking that it might not be a blunt-nosed minnow, but a fathead minnow or rosy red minnow, or I mean, that's what the xanthic is called. So a fathead minnow. I'm not entirely sure, but I have seen her and him breeding. So that's very interesting. And if that's the case, then one of these two sets of eggs would be hybrids. But at this point, they should have had so many babies at this, like, I think what's happening is that the eggs are getting eaten, and then they're just not being born. So I'm assuming that's what's happening in this tank, because there's no other explanation. Like, this guy's had eggs and he's protecting them. He's not like, you might think like, oh, he's not protecting them, he's eating them. No, he like sits there and he runs everybody off, and he's probably keeping them from getting any type of mold on them, but they keep disappearing and there's no babies in the tank. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is set these guys up in a separate 10-gallon tank. I'll just grab one of the ones that look like they have eggs, like that one right there, and I'll put it in with him, and then I'll put in this girl and the other male there. So I think that'd be pretty cool, and I'll try to breed them that way. But as of now, there's not been any hatch, sadly, but they have been breeding. But it's very cool, very interesting behavior that I get to witness it. I think they really enjoy this tank. I think I set it up properly for them, and they seem to enjoy it because they are breeding. But other than that, this tank's been doing pretty well. It seems that I'm thinking the catfish, the big catfish, ate the guppy, because there's no longer a guppy in here, and the catfish looked pretty big the other day, so that's very disappointing. But I do have all those guppies down there in that tank. So I hope that you guys found this interesting, and I hope you found it helpful if you're trying to figure out if your Rosy Red minnows or fathead minnows are breeding. So if you enjoyed, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, in the comments below. And if you want content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day.